Cheese? Tomatoes?
Well, what sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silver? Poison? Get to the point.
Enjoying the fair? Right away, my dear. Just speak to Master Chaucer if you're ready. Well, I've enough.
Show all of them. Seal what you're made of. Beer and flesh. What is it this time? Katerina's given the go-ahead, has she? Oh, very well then. Tell me when you're ready to begin, and I'll show you to your places. Ready for your trial by fire, you mean? There's no more savage foe than an audience, my dear. But I'm sure you'll do just fine. May the show begin! And I'd like to be the king of Stormfist, but I haven't got the credentials, have I? Come back when you've found some material worthy of my stage. Ready for your trial by fire, you mean? Not planning on playing to an empty audience.
You hear distant mutterings of curiosity as a small crowd shuffles toward your stage. A few moments longer, and everyone will be seated. Now, let's not be hasty. They may be dragging their feet, but your show is sure to knock the crowd's socks off. As soon as they settle into their seats, the stage is yours.
Bravo!
The crowd breaks into an approving chuckle. Continue, by all means.
Oh, there's an encore.
Eager to hear more, the crowd leans forward with great interest. One lady in the back is already chuckling. She must have heard this one before. The crowd's curiosity is piqued. Oh, do go on before they explode.
Bravo!
That's it, Source Hunter. You've got this joyful crowd right where you want them. Now, take them on home.
Good show! Good show!
They like you. They really, really like you. Well done, Source Hunter.
Cedric show is a doozy!
Come on! Come on! Can't you hear the stage calling you? What is it this time? Well, I must say that was, well, impressive. A bit like myself during my blue period, if I do say so myself. Here, have a little something from the fair coffer. I dare say you've earned it. Performers, showmen.
To plead for his very existence?
But if one were to reduce the quantity of skull dust by a percentage of 2, perhaps the stability could be increased by as much as 3-fold.
Oh, a source hunter. Imagine that. Quite a bit more petite than the last of your kind I encountered, aren't you? Yes, by nearly 20 centimeters of tibia, as my memory serves. But no matter.
Even if it couldn't spare its heartiest specimen, I'm sure the Order sent the individual with the next highest probability of success. Huh? Me? Why, I'm more than a little surprised you haven't heard of me. Perhaps I can jog your memory. It was I who cured the Duchess of Arata of her unslakable thirst. A simple pinch of atropa belladonna in her morning tea. I who discovered that aging itself can be halted by a single application of cicuta douglasii on the tongue. Not to mention that it's been my guidance that has permitted my apprentice Evelyn to make quite a name for herself around Sicile of late. Yes. If that's how we're referring to the secretive use of a revolutionary healing method she refuses to share with her own master. She's in the other room as we speak. Perhaps you can prevail upon her to offer a demonstration. She's gotten hold of a stone, supposedly capable of fantastic feats of healing, but she won't let me take the briefest look at it. But she claims to have gotten the relic from a little northern town, Silverglen by name, and that an abbot there blessed it with the power to heal. Utter rubbish, I say. But with these blasted undead haunting the travel routes, I can hardly march up to Silverglen to learn the truth myself. Certainly, what would you like to know? The counsellor. Terrible loss, that. Though we were hardly more than acquaintances, I knew him to be a devoted civil servant. From what I can tell, it seems to be a simple case of jealousy turned violent. The affairs of his wife, Esmeralda, were hardly a secret, you know. I've applied myself to that problem for 2 years and still haven't come a step closer to solving it. I declare it an act of the Almighty's, if I believed in such things. Some events, Source Hunter, can be neither controlled nor understood by mere men. Well, she certainly possesses a critical eye and an exacting manner when it comes to making difficult medical decisions. I expect she'll be a very successful healer in her own right when the time comes.
Interesting indeed.
Nothing sets me on edge like inexplicable magic.
That relic of Evelyn's the so-called healing crystal. I've seen one like it before, and by the Patriarch's pockets. It's a relic of Source. One look at that gem will be enough to convince me it's no force of good, but a bloodstone through and through.
Anybody? Neither of you cares to plead for his very existence?
I know I'm not the most, well, circumspect sort of source hunter, but in this case I feel we ought to tread carefully. Bloodstone is so named for a reason, you see. What starts as a pretty gem is corrupted by 6 sorcerers who infuse it with the blood of the slain. If that stone is what I suspect, I wouldn't trust Sicile's so-called healers any more than I'd trust a pyromancer on a wooden boat.
So, which of you is more deserving of life? Come, make your case.
Tone, soothing a corpse's troubled mind. Can't have gone far.
So, which of you is more deserving of life? Come, make your... Excuse me? This is a private sick room. Who in the name of the Seven do you think you are barging in here? Out, I say, right this instant. I'm sorry. It's this task. I'm just... Who am I to meddle with life and death this way? I'm an apprentice of the healing arts. Healing! But this decision feels like precisely the opposite. I have but 1 healing stone, you see, and 2 direly wounded men who need it. I've been racking my brain trying to decide on the best method to settle this grave situation, but perhaps it's better off in the hands of an esteemed source hunter. Surely you are more accustomed to weighing life and death than I. What would you like to know? One of the brave few willing to traverse the trade routes plagued by the undead. A young man, but excellent in matters of business, before he fell victim to an orcish club in the north, that is. Thankfully for him, a cattle trader found him, nearly dead, but not quite so, and brought him here straight away. Quite the venerable staple of Sicile, Stephen, and recently blessed with his 3rd grandchild. He was leading a crew of builders when a stray beam struck him in the temple, and only a few days shy of his last day of work before retirement, no less. Nearly everyone in Seal is familiar with Grinning Stephen, and, as you can imagine, he's quite dear to his family. Yes, a curious relic indeed. I got it from a kindly abbot, Loic by name, in the northern town of Silver Glen. He is of a certain faith, the Immaculates, they call themselves, that espouses the belief that certain stones can heal wounded flesh. I myself was nothing if not skeptical of his claims, but something happened as he handed me the stone. A small cut on my finger instantly healed, leaving no trace of the wound. Needless to say, I was astounded, but it's strange. The stone is only good for a single use at a time before it reverts to a useless, inert state. It takes time to regain its magical properties, and I guard it cautiously. You are? Ah, I thank you a million times for your help. Stephen should receive the stone. We know full well the difficulty of growing up without a family.
Yes, let's return a healthy Stephen to his family as soon as possible.
Stephen, it is? Yes, I'll deliver the stone. I'm glad we'll get to save one man, but my heart breaks for the other.
Thank the seven.
This is highly
thank you.
What is this? This
I
lightning?
don't know why I deserve this, but I'm beyond.
I am restored.
I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful.
Thank you eternally for your help. Though your reaction to the healing stone, I have no idea what to make of it.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us.
Hello again. Terribly sorry, Source Hunter, but I seem to be fresh out of priceless relics for you to destroy.
Stones for both of us. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us. Sorry, friend.
That strange reaction you caused. Blue lightning from a healing stone. I've never seen anything like it. And the stone looks different now, too. Like it's devoid of life. I begin to wonder if its magical properties survived your little reaction. Is that so? Well, I handled the corpse myself, indeed, but I hardly knew the man in life. I was shocked when Ahu asked me to come to the crime scene, but Theliron had taken ill, and the responsibility fell to me. I arrived at the inn, where the body lay just where it had fallen. The injuries were like nothing I'd ever seen. A single intricate laceration wove like lace around every inch of his skin. Neither a beginning nor an ending point were discernible. I examined the corpse and recorded what information I could. I personally delivered the corpse the short distance to the mortician's house. As far as I know, everything was, as far as a magical murder is concerned, quite normal. I've been studying under Theliron. I've a passion for...
Oh, you haven't left town yet, have you? Jolly good. Join me, why don't you, for us? Oh, he's a darling old Tom, isn't he? Paws over tails in love with me, and Who can blame him? The feeling's, well, it's rather mutual, actually. But that pet of a puss simply doesn't have a penny to his name. At the risk of sounding as shallow as a spaniel, I can't but admit my love does not come unconditionally. What if we were to have kittens, he and I? They'd jolly well starve, wouldn't they, with an alley cat for a papa? Oh, dear Sam, he's such a good old bean. But he does rather reside at the bottom of the scratching pole, doesn't he? And dear me, one must have at least a mite of standards.
Cat. Such grace they have. Magnificence incarnate.
Woolgraf too eyes the cat with great sympathy, though for others, a cat burglar after all.
What's with you, bipeds and beer? Ah, so there's the rub. I am but a stray, and she is the mayor's cat. Oh, I do understand her, I do. She wants a Tom of means, not privation. One who brings home the sardines and the occasional halibut. Would that I still had my collar. Such a marvel it was, as bejeweled as the night sky with precious stones, said to have once been worn by a far-off Maharaja's best hunting cheater. Like the king of all cats I looked when I wore it. A gift bestowed upon me by a princess whom I had kept company during a long and perilous voyage. A precious band of gemstones, lost as I was tossed around by the waves like a ball in a game of catch. Among the waves it remains, I imagine. Won perhaps by a crab who fancies himself a Caesar with it. If only I could be the Caesar again, and Maxine my Caesarina.
That purring sound. Mind control vibrations, I'm sure. Don't be seduced, comrades.
Woolgraf pets the cat, then dramatically acts as if he's been put in trance. Medora is horrified until he gives her a wink and a smile. Thunder clouds gather around her face.
Treasure!
About setting up the perfect crime.
Polite, handsome, and single. Don't go anywhere tonight, Legionnaire. I'd be afraid alone in the dark. Handsome officer you are, kind Septimus. You must have fought many a battle, am I right? In fact, I bet you're a real war hero.
Oh, I'm no hero, Esmeralda. I'm just doing my duty. For the Legion.
Well, you certainly are my hero. The rock upon which I may rest my weary soul in these trying and troubled times.
Never fear, milady. As long as I'm around, no hair on your haloed head shall be harmed.
So that's what that did.
Esmeralda's a funny character. She's always got ham on the brain. I've never been inside her secret room, but I bet it's full of hams too.
Dagger. Could this have been involved in the crime?
Legion's greetings. I have been informed about your heroics on the beach. Were that I had been there to partake in the battle. But my duties lie here, sworn as I am to protect Lady Esmeralda from the rabble that would enforce summary justice on her. Even though she is, until proven guilty, wholly innocent. I am Septimus, 7th son in a household of 9, legionnaires all. So fair a lady I have seldom seen in all of Riverlong, my friend. And I have traveled more extensively than migratory birds do. She stands accused of murder, but in my mind, her presumed guilt is a fallacy, and indeed a fabrication. Steadfast will I guard her. Never will I waver unless absolute proof of her culpability should be brought before me. Jake's murder is, in a word, a tragedy. He was well loved in all of Sicile. The Council of Seven couldn't have wished for a better ambassador. That he of all people should have braved the undead siege for so long, only to be felled by foul sorcery, is heartrending. You claim to possess evidence that implicates Lady Esmeralda in the murder of her husband? Well, let's have it then. This book has a dark reputation. Odd. Lady Esmeralda told me she's enamored with romances like the knight in see-through armor and Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom. Perhaps you had best ask her to explain. A dagger caked in dried blood. Found in the cellar of this very house, you say? That's very disconcerting. Though I'm sure milady can explain. To set aside all doubt, I mean. Let me have a quick read. Wait, what? There's another... I mean, she had an admirer who wanted her to kill her husband, then elope with him? What madness is this? It cannot be true! And what questions are those? I hold by the belief that this place is cursed. Proper soldiers shouldn't...
Lords above, grant me patience. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Here because you think I killed my husband. How many times do I need to state and restate my complete innocence in the matter? I am Esmeralda, wife of Jake, and now, alas, his widow. Poor man. We were both so young when we married. He so rich and I so poor, but his one and only princess just the same.
Starstone? I've never heard of such a thing. Dear Jake had a mineral collection, yes. As far as I knew, it was one of his pastimes, nothing more. Do you mean to imply he collected something dangerous? Something that may have gotten him into trouble? Oh, this is all too much.
Like I told just about every legionnaire in town, I don't know anything about poor Jake's murder. I want his killer found and tried, but everyone suspects me of this evil deed. And you're no different, are you? So what happened? Some of them tittle-tattling crab chasers down the pub call me a murderous gold digger and you believe them? These insinuations truly go beyond the pale. Oh, I think I'm getting one of my headaches.
Oh, that horrid tome of ill repute. It isn't mine, it was Jake's. He was a politician, don't you see? Always on the lookout for plotting rivals. Always trying to be one step ahead. Really, I should have thought a source hunter of all people would appreciate my dear husband's sense for survival.
Perhaps it is you who should explain your presence in my cellar.
And the dagger?
It's simply a butcher knife used by my late husband to cut meat. He did so love to cook, the dear. What'll you think of next? Accusing me of bashing him over the head with a frying pan? Oh, don't put stock in the hastily scribbled words of a lovelorn fool. This letter, it was a show of passion. A poorly worded passion I did not echo in the least. The Duke, he's like a spoiled child. He's not a man. He's not like Septimus. But all of it is circumstantial. I've a perfectly logical explanation for every piece of so-called evidence against me, and yet you've been trailing me like a bloodhound. People seem to want to believe I am guilty, so let me tell you something I've been keeping to myself. Perhaps it may yet lead to the true culprit. Over the last few months, Jake grew distant. Distant and dark somehow. Something in him changed. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he was no longer the gentleman he used to be. It all began the day he met Evelyn, Master Theliron's apprentice. She healed him of what we all believe to be a fatal wound he suffered hunting boars. I think he became obsessed by her, or obsessed by the secrets I just know she holds. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she belongs to that sect. You know, to those who worship a goddess without name and practice rituals of blood. I never liked her from the moment I met her. Men cannot see past her beauty, but I have gazed her in the eye and it was death that leered back at me. She hails from Silverglen, a village in the forest north of Sicil. How she made it past the undead without a Legion escort, I'll never know. Though I can hazard an eerie guess. If anyone killed my Jake, it must be her. She had her claws in him for many long months, and finally she must have cut too deeply. Well, what do you want to know? Never imagined that finding a... I've heard that once they're animated...
No, I know it's here somewhere. I don't want to ruin this particular batch of party elixir with too much wormwood.
To what do I owe the repeated pleasure, Source Hunter? Far be it from her to tell her master what in the seven's name she's up to. The girl flew from here like she just heard the location of the Philosopher's Stone. She even left her pouch unattended in the next room. Most unlike her, to be sure. She usually keeps it within sight at all times. Very strange she'd leave it behind. It's in the next room if you'd like to take a look. I'd try her house, for starters. It's not far from here. I'll mark the location on your map.
She's got a lair on the beach, does she?
Perhaps that's where she stashed Jake's body.
Is out. And yet, I feel a cold inside my soul. Oh, how nice it is of you. The very picture of youth, to break the monotony of an elder's day. Wild away on this hardwood bench. Pray, I am but an aged elf that has seen the years parade. You would listen to my grievances. Hot spiced wine and a snug little room awaits us on the King Crab's first floor.
How gratifying to see you have a punch on, perhaps, yes. I have the blood of sorcerers in my veins, and between you and me, the blood of sorcerers too. The power of sorcery is so very alluring, you know.
You should be more careful, madam. I am a hunter, but as luck would have it, I'm not a zealot.
And neither am I. Be advised, though, not to give in to your inclinations. Other hunters may not be so forgiving.
Gods have mercy. I talked openly about sorcery in front of a source hunter. What a fool I am. No need to worry, source hunter dearest. You'll find no sorcery that I am. You wouldn't believe some of the...
Ah, you have come. Yes, that is most satisfactory. Begone, brittle mask of age. My name is Eglandir Twilsalanar, elf of the House of Gandavum. The game, yes! A game of blood and brutality, of death and dexterity. Fun as herring the horror harlequin. But, like the serpentine stalker hisses before the stab, hush now. Darkness, darling. Hush, hush, and listen to my tale. The elves of Gandavum, they lived in peace. Oh, yes. But one night, all undone. Every last one of us. Except for me, the midnight rambler, away from the city. I was very old back. I may be frail, a withered grey, but the wealth of kings is mine. Countless assassins of minutes. I have tracked her down. By the curse of the spine spear I have. She does not know her ill-shapen sun is setting fast. Color the dusk red, O sword of youth. Bloody the day with the bramble sap that runs through the veins of Victoria. Bring me the amulet that clings to her flesh, soon to fade. And yours shall be the bounty of vindication. Mine shall be its sanguine satisfaction after long, long last. Yes, Victoria. She is the one whose heart must be held in hand, the heart around which the fingers of that hand must clench and tighten until its choking flesh bulges with blood and its beat slowly breaks. The Orcs of Gazuldaga. Her name is that of a woman. Her employment, Victoria. Librarian. Daughter.
That was quite the radical change we witnessed. I never would have thought that the benign old man we met outside would turn out to be a vengeance-driven aficionado of assassins.
He is as much a savage as those orcs. And how is Victoria guilty of her tribe's crime if she was but a babe at the time?
Indeed. Victoria probably doesn't even know about her past. And yet she's on a, let's call him, eccentrics hit list.
Tos Jageta, friend. Kira Lizor. Oh, do pardon my language, my friend. But that is quite the startling revelation. Does he not see that I am now the one who is to be wronged? Why, oh why must he make me, of all gentle-minded and life-loving creatures, why must he make me the target of his imperishable hate? So, let us approach the situation with reason and ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Though, first let me say this. Hashizm bil krushim zunum. Leg fizoda! Yes, a capital notion. Let him be brought before the law for his schemes. I am an innocent. It would probably be better if you, rather than I, informed Captain Aureus, though.
You notice something being slipped into your hand. One of Walgraff's notes. Saw you steal. No biggie. I'm a thief. I didn't think a source hunter would pinch. The rogue keeps his eyes fixed on yours. He's expecting an answer. Wargraf seems to be shocked, but then comforted by that last reply. You can tell he's seeing things in a new light, deciding whether he should believe the former statement or the latter.
Ah, the Source Hunter. Oh, joyous hour. Whom would you have the Legion arrest? The elf. What in the name of Ahu's arse should I arrest him for?
He wants us to kill Victoria.
It's true. He is a dangerous lunatic and needs to be incarcerated.
So, he wants you to kill that savage the mayor calls his daughter, does he? Hardly seems a crime to do so. But I guess I cannot allow assassinations to take place. I won't arrest him unless I have some actual evidence, though. Or did you think I'd simply take your word for fact? As I suspected.
Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom. Jagetta Yes? Have you decided what should be done about him? Jagetta. Yes? My amulet? But it is Haxmaji, a sacred token that houses the presence of my ancestors. No, I cannot part with my talisman, the keepsake of my soul. When you put it like that, I guess I cannot say that it is.
Here I wait for... Yes. Yes.
Yes. So it is. So it is. By Angus, the Impaler's favourite steak, you've done well by me. Oh, Ravager of Gazaldagar, the last of their line is dead. The House of Gandavon has been avenged. Sweet flowing blood. The quest of decay is at an end. My wealth is yours. My life is death's. By the hollow sockets of the Voidwood Eye Gouger, I bid thee thanks and fond farewell.
Source Hunter, welcome. Well, what? I'd never. If you must know, I was merely checking up on Maxine, the mayor's cat. What a delight she is. The temperament of a tiger, the grace of a leopard, and the manners of a lady. And what might those be? One of them failed? Who is the mongrel that dares to question my engineering expertise? I take it the mutt in question was referring to the Sparkmaster 5000. It isn't failing, it just became... well, it became self-aware. Frightfully annoying when that happens. You know what? Here's the remote access device with which I used to control it. There's a manual for that somewhere around here, too. Yours, if you can find it. I really should invite Victor. I hope your investigation... His body is gone? Replaced with that of a sheep? This is all very disconcerting, to say the least. Grave robbery reeks of necromancy. Could Jake have been involved with those that raise the dead? It seems too improbable to be true, but nevertheless, you're onto some...
Ah, the Source Hunter. Oh, joyous hour. Yes. Discovered anything? Have you found any incriminating evidence against her? If, like I said, the girl's known to be a flirt. But that sob of a feral doesn't have the mettle to commit murder. And as far as I'm concerned, neither has she. How to plan the perfect murder? Really? Really? She might as well wear a dress with the words "I killed Jake and I liked it" embroidered on it. But that alone wouldn't suffice to convince me. So convince me, Hunter. And the knife, the book, the letter, they seem harmless enough by themselves, but in conjunction they do paint a pretty grim picture. Fine then. If you're certain she did it, then I shall have Esmeralda. Surely you have exhausted all the evidence that was to be found. It was stolen. Gods, what a fool that Roberts is. Taking a bribe in beleaguered old Sicil. He has a lot to answer for, but not as much as the one that did the bribing in the first place. Guess your mission is pretty clear, isn't it? Off you go to find this munificent body snatcher. What is in her diary certainly seems to implicate she dabbles in sorcery. Well, you're supposed to be the source hunter, aren't you? Go hunt some source!
They're dead.
And they might have lived if we hadn't intervened.
Those fools are dead! I knew that she-beast would bring disaster. It was that orc. She snapped, grabbed them, popped their necks, and then ran out of here like a wild beast.
Use the Federal's carriage for the joyride.
Now we need. We drove it straight to the pub and back.
Ahoy, sailor! Are you enjoying the fresh winds of Sicil? Aye, that Cecil's worse than a rooster. Crowing all around town about matters he ought to know are better kept quiet. Well, if you know about the staff, I suppose you also know it's gone without a trace. For my part, I haven't a clue where it could have gone. Overboard, stolen, or vanished into thin air. Though I'm quite eager to see it return. I've got a reputation to uphold, you know.
He's a councillor's wife.
Is that why we never sailed to get the
Wouldn't hurt to ask some of my men. I tried myself, but sailors tend to be a bit tight-lipped when they're afraid of getting one another in some trouble. Seaman's code, you know. Not to rat out a fellow sailor.
About the time the captain's yours here in was too busy dodging fireballs to notice anything myself. But ask her. Oh, and don't forget the time he got
Yes?
caught past.
I've worked.
Sauce? Here is now you mention it. I noticed Dietmar, a fellow merchant travelling with us, carrying a sealed box off the ship during the attack. At the time, I figured he was just escaping with his personal effects. But it could well have been that staff you're talking about. Well, sure, I saw him slip off the ship, but I haven't a clue where it could possibly be now. Captain Conrad's the man to ask for such matters.
Yours? He was too busy dodging Don't know much about him myself, except that he and... Don't forget the time he got caught passing a love note to the Lizard Councillor's wife.
Heard anything about the whereabouts of the magic stick yet? What? That weasel has it for sure. But I'll tell you this. I didn't speak of that stuff to a soul on board. If he's the one who took it, he must have known it was on the ship before stepping foot on her decks. I'm sure he'll make a run for it, probably by boat. I'd look for him on an out-of-sight beach somewhere. He's probably there now trying to launch a vessel in private, if he hasn't already escaped that. Don't know the details of it myself. I'm more in the business of making deliveries than of asking questions.
Still thinking about exploring the beach? You're free to go, though we Legionnaires are under strict orders never to abandon our posts. You don't look like you're quite ready to head out into the wilds to me. You may have the right number of champions in your party, yet in experience, I think you're lacking. Of course. I certainly hope you know what you're doing, Source.
Look alive, my good man. This gate'll be short work for a well-equipped contingent of orcs.
The Sicilians retreated from this battle, but what about the orcs?
Either they've taken to the sea or set up an encampment in yonder caves. Keep your weapon at the ready.
Oh, hello! What have we here? An adventurer, I judge, by the world-weary look of your weapon, and a noble by the wonderfully deep pockets clipped to your belt. What luck?
what luck. Charla is my name, good friend. I came to the Second Life some time ago, some years. In any case, it has been time well spent hunting out magnificent goods and selling them to interested parties. So many wonderful artifacts I've found. Have a look by all means. You look like just the sort of self-starter to appreciate what I mean. Weapons, 4 of them, that the intrepid adventurer can improve and upgrade as he travels if he finds the right pieces. See them? See them? Judge for yourself.
Away with your weapons! Away! Leave humble orc to mourn in peace. In our own town, we honour the dead by decorating their graves with whatever materials we have. I don't want to fight. I ain't after no fancy stone. I just want to bury these bodies the traditional way. Oh, he was such a dear lad he was. We wanted to see the world, but we saw next to nothing before he was called to serve the old mother in the afterlife. Don't play dumb with me, small bones. You know as well as I that your little city here won't be rid of us orcs till my kind gets that fancy schmancy bloodstone you got in our village. Oh, poor Rocky will never. There weren't so many spoils after the battle, but I managed.
This orc is obviously bereft. We may risk missing out on that armor set, but we've got to leave him be.
Agreed. Robbing the dead is bad enough, but to do...
Don't think I didn't see that twinkle in your eye when I spoke of the armor, small bones. But I thank you for leaving my brother to rest in peace.
You accidentally disturb any graves.
We made a promise to an orc, after all.
Ha! That pathetic heap of source-addled frogskin thought it could fool us, did it? Old Medora knows for certain that orc would have loved nothing better than to axe you in the back while it cried on your shoulder. Well, I didn't mean to imply that compassion is an unequivocally bad thing, you know. But hasn't a source hunter got to be judicious about when to grant it? I've yet to meet an orc who'd earned a soft hand. Though I suppose old Medora'd be perhaps overly dismissive to imagine that one could never exist.
Wargraf draws your attention and points out several inconspicuous little elevations in the sand. Hidden explosives.
I can't move!
These footprints are enormous.
Watch out. Orcs that
Marks of victory, Hunter. We'll vanquish our foes yet. I wouldn't venture too far out of town if I were you. Or whose invention? These days we lead you, don't it?
Salutations! You don't look like you're quite ready to head out into the... Thank you for...
So, the wizard's crafted a device intended to keep the undead at bay, has he? Little did he expect we'd recognize the hulking source sapphire he's using to fuel it. Careful now, comrades, and tread lightly. There's no telling when that madman's doomsday device might gain sentience and turn its rays on us. Oh, to be met with such derision by my own comrades. Though I suppose, if I recall correctly, the source sapphire does have a particular sheen about it. Yes, and I think that in fact an authentic source sapphire buzzes with the trapped souls of 1,000 innocents too.
I land on my feet. I needed that.
Good luck out there,
I wouldn't
Hunter.
venture too far out of town if I were you. Oh, who's invent these days? Don't ask me.
Drink and gam.
Where do my boots all?
Sigurd's strength and beauty.
Back on my feet again.
I need another chance!
I've been struck by lightning!
An invigorating fight that was. And what a killing blow you delivered.
Cheers! Yes, I handled myself like the best of the best, even if I do say so myself.
No need for false modesty where none is needed. You're a born source hunter.
Things got pretty hairy.
Don't you worry. As long as I'm there to heal you.
Thank you.
How many eyes does a bull have?
Selenia seems to have sent out some troops to investigate the lighthouse.
Keep an eye out for any survivors.
fresh apple pie.
Looks like more of the Legionnaires sent to investigate the lighthouse.
Stay sharp, or we'll end up...
Spirits of the Lord, I call you home to the earth.
to my boot soles!
Ironclad and fleet of foot. I'm invincible.
Eternal silence awaits you.
I need to dry off.
What can I do for you? More prey await.
Don't touch that grave unless you're prepared to face the strongest ghost alive. Well, alive.
Welcome back, Source Hunters. I've been eagerly expecting you. You found another Starstone, haven't you? Go on, ask me how I know. Aha! Mere child's play when you know what to look for. And it's happened again, my friend. Another portal has reignited. The end of time is growing by the stone. It's all connected somehow. You don't imagine that I'd presume to explore it before you? No, that would be most unmannerly. And not to mention, well, no, I'm sure it's nothing. It's just that beyond the portal, I sense a presence that I can't quite account for. It is at once powerful and faint. Perhaps only a shadow, but this is only speculation, of course. Come, let me show you the way.
What an impressive room.
So it is. A hall fit for kings.
Woolgraf spotted something.
You. It cannot be you. But it can only be you, the Guardians. But oh, how weak you have become. As weak as you used to be strong. Look about you. You used to lead, and now you follow. That it has come to this. Woe to the world that it has come to this. He won't believe me, the fiend. But they have come. As
Well, wouldn't you look fine with a strapping warrior at your side? Or is it mages you prefer? An eagle eye thought you'd never ask.
Who do you think the creature in there was?
I haven't the foggiest. But the eerie bit is that she seemed to know us.
How welcome you are upon this realm, our most honored guest. Threads I weave and tales I see. She is one whose history is shrouded in darkness. She is more than a woman, though less than a goddess. She knows you. You have wronged her. She is part of the end, though she longs to be part of endlessness. The threads tell me that once, oh, how many eons lie hidden in so small a word. Once, you strode across that hall in shining armor, a sovereign to all who beheld your might. I can clearly read that armies you have led, demons and dragons you have conquered, that you have ascended. But how can this be now that you stand before me a human, a mortal? How far has your soul fled from the being it used to be? New threads, more threads we need.
Good to see you, most certainly. Ah, yes, the Hall of Heroes. I can't think of a better place to gather new heroes. Should you like you, she is a mystery.